Welcome to Indie Inclinations. Thank you for coming on. I'm very excited to have you. And I'm fascinated because I know you're a filmmaker, but you do specialize in cinematography. And then you're also doing a podcast, Southbridge, which has wonderful sound design, and it's great. So I'm not knocking in
Thank
any
you.
way, but it's so fascinating that someone who's obviously a visual artist, as I would put it, right? I know that's
hmm
not the it's a different group of people, but you know what I mean by that.
Sure.
Doing something that has no picture. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So basically, I've kind of bounced back and forth on like, okay, what is my style? What is my, go-to thing? And through that, I've found different challenges. So one of my short films, I was like, let's go for as little dialogue as possible. How do I tell a compelling story with almost no dialogue? And so that produced my short I'll Be Here, Last Man on Earth thing, weirdly very much related to how everyone felt during COVID, but we shot it before COVID, so that was
And I
weird.
saw it, and it's awesome because I saw it at that
Thank you.
filmmakers meeting. Yes. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so that kind of sprouted, well, that was fun, what's next? And in kind of brainstorming off of the I'll Be Here story, I came up with this idea for a TV show that is about people who think they're the last people on Earth and maybe they're not. And what if there's like this big overarching company that's controlling them? So I'd been kind of developing this story for about 4 or 5 years at the point, and then COVID hit, and I was in a pretty dark space and said, like, well, if I never can see another human again, I want to have created something with this time. So what if I take this TV show that I've been working on and adapt it to a podcast format so that we can record remotely? And yeah, like you were saying, I'm much more of a visual person. So it was a really big challenge to say, okay, I have no visuals. So only focus on the dialogue and, the sound effects and go from there to create the story. And it helped me develop those skills a lot more. So now when I'm writing other things, it's starting to even out. We're like, okay, ease back on the visuals. We'll get there when we get there. Yeah, so it was a boot camp in many ways, but the letting go of the visual storytelling aspect was a big one.
And did you do your own sound design, or did you bring somebody in?
I brought someone in. I actually had maybe met him in person once before at a filmmakers connect in Nashville, where I used to live. So we were friends on Facebook, and I had been posting like, "Oh, I'm making a scripted podcast. Does anyone have any experience with this?" Like, just general. I want advice, and who knows how to do this because I don't. And my now sound mixer Seth reached out and was like, "This is my ultimate dream job. This is what I want to do for a living. I want to work with you." And I was like, okay, I know nothing about sound and you're the sound guy, so
That's
perfect.
great.
He ended up letting me in on a story. He for I think it was a school project, did a essentially a scripted podcast version of Narnia. And so he did all the sound effects and kind of like created this whole world in audio space. And that was kind of the incitement of I want to do this specific little,
Yeah.
sound design world thing.
Wow, that's great. That's amazing. So, yeah, so you learned by putting yourself in sort of like giving yourself an obstacle of no visuals, you learned more about the sound, and now you're coming all back around with everything and hopefully getting back on set as the world is getting better, evolving. I don't know. I feel
Right.
like if I say anything like, "Oh, we're getting back to normal," then we're going to be jinxed, and there's going to be
Yeah,
some
let's knock on
horrible.
wood.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Right, knock on my desk. Right on. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we sign off?
Um, Anything. I'm an open book. I have a lot of experience working on indies as well as union sets. This last project, Two Lives in Pittsburgh, was just such an exciting film to be a part of. It's one of those that, you read the script and immediately I was just like, I don't care what I do, I have to be on this job. Like I have to be a part of making this happen. And just every step of the process, the producer Lola and the director Brian, we have like worked together as a trio through everything. And it's been such an exciting journey. So we're submitting to festivals now, hoping to be, running the festival circuit through next year. And yeah, we're really excited about the film.
It sounds great. And I know you can watch Southbridge. I did want to mention this on Apple Podcast, and it's free, right?
It
Anybody
is
can
free,
watch.
yeah.
Listen, sorry, I shouldn't say watch. I should say
Or
listen.
yeah.
So definitely check that out if you're watching this show. Check that out because it's free. These are all free things. You can see what people are doing, and it's great. And we'll look for your film. And thank you.